Cheers, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening live at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on this Sunday, the 9th of, April 2017. As you're looking and seeing, yes, oddly enough, Ken is not on the show today, but I am. That's right, I am hosting today from Japan. As many of you know, I'm out traveling, and here I am. And as we talk about time frames, like I said, it's 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT, and currently 3 a.m. Japan time from the future, because it's actually the 10th here right now on Monday morning, and not, essentially not Sunday. And partly it's time zones are tough, especially when you're in the future. It's very interesting. Trying to communicate with people's like, what? But here I am on, and hopefully, I gotta make sure I start that too, so I'm on Alpha Geek as well. Hopefully that'll pick up here in a sec. And I'm on the mobile rig from another country over Wi-Fi, so hopefully this all works. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me somewhat cleanly, although there may be hiccups in the stream, we shall see. Right away, let's see, top of the show, what things do I have to say? I need to throw a massive shout out to a few people. One, to my host, John, who has given me and my traveling companion, Amy, a place to stay while out here in Japan. And actually this night just happened to work out great. Ken got busy with work, had to put out some emergency fires, and John is not home tonight, and so I'm not interrupting him, although my traveling companion's asleep in the other room. Hopefully I don't wake her up, and this goes off without a flaw. So it actually works out pretty well that I'm here tonight. Let's see, hopefully... And we'll go ahead and kick things off with a little bit of
functional deviations.
So hopefully a lot of what I talk about today won't be too new for all of you guys. And yes, I may sound a little tired. Partly it's because I'm trying not to project like I normally would for the show, because I don't want to echo out this entire house or this apartment, let alone the neighbors or people sleeping in the other room, that kind of thing. And so I'm trying to keep it somewhat mellow. So instead you get the chill voice of Wayne versus the loud, boisterous, hey, how's it going voice. And so trying not to do that today. But yes, this hopefully will also be an interactive show so that all of you can ask me questions and keep me up to task with what's been going on. For my trips to Japan, I'm hoping people have been checking out my personal YouTube channel that I've posted around about my adventures, as I've been posting somewhat daily vlogs of what I've been doing. And so with that, you should be able to keep up with what my travels have been like. You can also check out my traveling companion Amy's blog. Hers is, I believe, Melon Dreams on YouTube. She's been doing her own perspective, and it probably has a lot more of Wayne's a big jerk, I don't ever want to travel with him again because I'm a big, loud snoring man and stuff like that. But who knows? I haven't checked out all of her videos so much as just her posts and pictures and such. So I've been in Japan for essentially 9 days. One of the days was somewhat a lost day by traveling Eastern time zones when we were traveling over. It kind of got me screwed up when I was initially trying to coordinate when we were arriving with John to say that, I'll be there on the 1st. No, actually, we arrived on the night of the 1st, really into the 2nd, because of heading across was it not the day-night Terminator, the McCurder line? Yeah. But the time zone lines from this side to actually start the new day, which really screwed me up because I had checked out time frames for trains and buses and things like that, and then come to realize as I was flying that was the next day. one of the things I was really concerned with that is I had gotten delivered to the airport a means to stay connected and get around, which was a pocket Wi-Fi. Something I highly recommend to anyone, especially traveling somewhere like Japan, if you don't want to have to spend exorbitant amount of money on trying to use technology. I hope it will be enough. I actually looked through a lot of websites. There's some like the regular rail J-Pass, the rail system here in Japan, especially in the Tokyo area. They actually have a lot of resources on that main rail site for things like exchanging money, for getting the rail passes, for things like communication, getting SIM cards for your phone, or in this case, what I did, a pocket Wi-Fi. Although I went through a different company. Main reason being, most of the companies do pocket Wi-Fi, which is essentially, it's in the other room unfortunately, it's a little just device that you carry around that does various types of wireless coverage, be it 3G, 4G, LTE, whatever it might be. And it takes that Wi-Fi or the cellular signal and converts it to a local Wi-Fi hotspot that has password, and in my case can handle up to 10 devices concurrently connected to it. And so in doing so, it gives me a means to basically, I turned my phone's cellular data off, although my cellular's on, because I can receive text messages without paying any additional fees, but I can't send them. If I send them, it's 50 cents a text. And so instead of doing that, I turn on the local Wi-Fi. I'm using the Wi-Fi here from John for the show, as well as my phone when I'm inside. But whenever I'm traveling, I have the pocket Wi-Fi in, which allows me to connect locally, and I'm able to use all my data with Facebook, with Messenger, which is my primary means of connection, emails, play some games, stuff like that. But it's really important and really useful for things like train schedules and stuff, because gosh darn it, Google Translate, which has some issues but does well, and Google so yes, Skype, I did receive your texts, but that's why you see no responses, because 50 cents a text. But I was able to get my directions and such and check out like local train and bus schedules very easily with the pocket Wi-Fi. I found one that basically cost me $100 for a month, which if you think data plans is expensive, but can carry it everywhere. And the reason I got this one versus some that were like $50 is that the $50 ones would give you, quote, unlimited data, but they would limit you after 10 gigs of usage throughout the month down to like 128 kilobit speeds or something like that. So great speeds until then, but then lower. And so what I did then is the one I found was from a straight Japanese site, almost no English on it. Worked out, got it, it's working. But it was $100 essentially, but it's, instead of unlimited data, it was 100 gigs of data at full speed. And I based that upon my normal cellular usage and even home usage for computers. And even with all the computers in my house, my usual home usage of downloads and stuff is maybe 100 gigs, 150 gigs. And that's between 3 people constantly on the computer. So I figured I'm probably safe. We'll see 2 weeks from now or a week and a half from now whether that runs out. And if I didn't have enough data, we'll see. Hopefully it's enough. So far it's been a godsend. It's been a great way to get around and keep connected. Also nice is because Messenger has voice. I was able to get connections with my hosts and stuff and actually call them and do some voice as long as I'm using Messenger. So again, been wonderful. Been able to do some live streams from the trains, things like that, and just kind of keep track of stuff. So tech-wise, big fan. Because the other thing is, while a lot of places will have free Wi-Fi, it's not everywhere. And I personally didn't do cellular. I had an opportunity to meet up with a couple of my friends locally who are traveling at the same time to come do a lot more martial arts things. And they went with where they just upgraded their regular data plan on their phones, but they only ended up with like 200 megs of data. And within the first 2 or 3 days, they were out of data. And they were trying to be super, super careful about it. And they're actually the ones that recommended the pocket Wi-Fi to me. And now that they've gotten to their next destination, they ended up picking up one, at least for a while they're in Kyoto, which they have said has been a big improvement. Because when they first came in, we were trying to meet up one day when we were going to Akihabara to see the electronics district. And they got lost. Their GPS wasn't working, they weren't able to communicate, and they were just totally lost, and so we ended up not meeting up. So again, Wi-Fi technology, being able to get around is a huge thing, especially for someone like me who is about the ultimate gaijin, in that I do not know how to communicate in Japanese. Simple as that. I thought with my martial arts, and I thought some of the things I was doing were pretty good, that I maybe had learned a few things and was able to at least, greet and get through regular, hey, where are things? Can I buy this? Stuff like that. Nope. I know nothing. Call me Jon Snow. I know nothing. Part of the challenge being is where I can, say the basic things like konnichiwa, genga desu, saying how you're doing and stuff. It can start a conversation, but I don't know what anyone's responding with, so it doesn't really help. Another challenge is just where, I forgot some of the basics where, I know hi, say yes, right? Hi, which has served me well, but not knowing how to say no, which is, was it ie? It's ie. So it's ie. And things like that where I just don't know how to even respond when I'm trying to say no, I don't want something. I don't know how to say thank you properly. Pardon me. I'm learning as I'm here, and thankfully Casey sent me, the other guys who are traveling sent me a PDF that's like real basics. And so I'm trying to learn. And really what I've been relying on heavily is having my traveling companion Amy, who speaks, I'd say not fluent Japanese, speaks and understands Japanese in a casual format, but is not maybe as well versed in formal, but definitely can speak it, understand it, and read it. So has been able to make the trip much easier. Saying arigato gozaimasu works. Knowing the difference between, domo arigato gozaimashita and like arigato gozaimasu, and I say that terribly. When I speak fast, I get mush mouth, and Amy just yells at me for my mispronunciation of things, because to really say it, it's like arigato gozaimasu. But even there, that mas, I'm mushing. So when I say it to her, she gets all angry at me, and I kind of just say it because that's actually my number one response to anything, because everyone I'm purchasing from says, arigato gozaimashita, because they're providing a service and thanking me for working with them. And I just say, arigato gozaimasu, basically saying thank you for helping me. And that's worked wonderfully. My challenges have been more that I didn't realize, and I've said this in one of my blogs, how much conversation goes through a normal transaction. It's not what I'd be used to, where I point, I've been doing a lot of pointing and grunting. I grab something, here you go, and I want this, obviously, and they start saying a lot of words. Apparently they start verbalizing everything they're doing, and so they look at the items, they say, okay, you purchased this, and this costs this much, this costs this much, and they start ringing it up as it goes. And so they say this and how much, this and how much, this and how much, this and how much, and it ends up costing this much total. The tax was this, you owe this. And so they say all of that, even though it's on the screen and stuff like that, but they repeat it all. It's very kind of a formal transaction, but it's very polite, and they want to ensure that you have full understanding. And so I don't get any of that. I just hear them rattling it off. I look at the amount, say, yep, that's pretty sure that's what I was asking for, and I give them the money. Learned very quickly that you tend not to hand the money directly to anybody. They have trays. Stick the money in the tray. They take it, do what they need to, and they will often put the money in your hand, but that way you're not just like dropping money at them. Same with the receipt. They'll put the receipt in the tray and stuff like that, or drop in your hand. But got through all that, and I've done well. But I, no question, have not had a conversation with anyone who's a local. Another big challenge for me is where it's weird. This is the most foreign place I've been, in a sense that, like, when I've traveled to resorts and stuff like in Mexico and things, I know enough Spanish that I can fumble through, and I feel fairly comfortable, at least working with it. When I went to the UK, when I went to Norway, they're English-speaking countries, so not really any barrier. In Norway, there were some levels of, older people had less English, but even then, it didn't seem as hard. I mean, it felt like a very foreign country, but communication really wasn't an issue. Here, I'm not talking to anybody. At most, it's just bowing a bit and acknowledging when they're saying things and basically, saying, "Arigato gozaimasu," and that's about it. And so it's weird because thankfully I'm visiting people I know who are English speakers, but in a way it feels like I'm not in a foreign country because I'm not really interacting with people from here. But I am in a foreign country because I'm not talking to anybody else. It's an odd thing for me. Partially also I think because I'm mostly in the cities, and the city functions in a way where you can kind of just wander, see, point, send money, and get by. In most cases, in the big cities like this, a lot of menus will have at least English written, even if the staff does not speak it. And so there's a lot of pointing at pictures, at things, saying, "Yep, that's what I want." Even at the local McDonald's here, because of course you have to try a McDonald's, see what their local cuisine's like compared to what you're used to. I'd point, say something like, "Hey, I want this," and it was kind of I'm just going to go with, hopefully you understand. And they say it in Japanese and say, "Sure," and I've been successful. But very different that way. What other things? It's been nice also because currency-wise it's been fairly simple. The dollar to yen ratio is very close, and so it's basically $1 equals 100 yen. And so you just kind of take the 2 zeros at the end and consider them your change, and it makes you understand pretty quickly how much money is being transacted, which is nice. That makes purchasing at least make more sense. Not having to do any big math, and so I'm pretty sure I know what I'm spending. Most places here are very cash oriented, and so have cash on hand, have a lot. Things are not expensive, but they're not cheap, especially eating. And that's probably been the number one activity I've been doing since I've been here, is eating. Because food, another country, and legit awesome. I will eat my way through a lot of countries. For the most part, I've been successful in only eating beef, chicken, that kind of thing, but I know I've had some fish. But in forms that I wasn't really caring for. I know at some points we went to at least one restaurant where it was about as Japanese as you could get. The menu was all, this one was actually in kanji, not the other one starts with an H. Here, I can't say it. It was all kanji, and it was hand-drawn kanji on the menu, so it wasn't something that Google Translate could even try. It was just like, nope, no idea. It was all Amy doing the ordering. She gave us everything, but they came out with little appetizer bowls right up front, which are actually really impressive that they had what looked like a sushi roll on it, fairly fresh type sushi roll, some sauce, and a little bit of vegetables. And I'm pretty sure that one was fish, but I just said, screw it, it's in front of me, I'm eating it, done. It was awesome. Thank you, hiragana and katakana. And this was straight up, in my mind, hieroglyphics, I'll put it that way, but the kanji. So what else can I say about here? Hopefully you guys will check out my latest video that's going to go up tonight as soon as the show's done. I just finished editing it. But today, as a preview, we went cruising around the mountains, actually for a second time. John, within our first couple days here, we did a lot in the sense that we kind of hit Japan hard. Because we flew in, got into the airport just before midnight on the 1st. Basically camped out, slept at the airport. Tons of people around were. And had to wait till the first buses and trains in the morning, which started off at like 5 something like that in the morning. And so we're staying there at the airport overnight. Not worth trying to get a hotel or something to sleep 3 or 4 hours. And he wasn't sure about that, but there were a ton of people in there. It was fine. And in Japan, honestly, I have never felt probably safer in any country I've ever been. Sorry, Canada, but here so far, walking around the streets, I felt safer in Japan than I did in Canada. And Canada is notoriously nice. And I see stuff in my hair. But where I think because Canada has all of the like taxi drivers and stuff seem a little sketch. But here's just everyone's super nice. That laying out in the airport, not a concern. Yeah, chilling. It was fine. But we went from there straight to traveling up to Fusa, where I'm staying, which is west of Tokyo proper, still in the Tokyo region, but west end from the main city. And so did that, took the bus up, took a couple trains, figured it out fairly quickly, it was nice. Ended up just buying tickets initially with yen, and the rail system makes a lot of sense once you get used to it. They are very regular, which is awesome. A lot of the machines will have an English option, although it's good to have some idea. The rail system is all color coordinated, and platform-wise, as long as you get on the right color, right platform, you will get where you're going. Again, if you have Google Maps and you put in where you want to go and say take a train or a public transportation, it will pretty much give you the exact schedule, and because they're punctualness, they are within that minute it says they will arrive and leave. So you may have to rush between a few stations if you want to make that schedule, but works like clockwork. Awesome jobs they do. So we made it no problem, and had John came and picked us up from the station. And so the first day we were just going to hear, and then we ran all over the place. He took us, grabbed some food. I forget if it was that first day or not, but I think we went for a cruise as well. But we kind of ran around, some quick shopping. Wanted to see the Daiso, which is basically the local dollar store. And it's much nicer than anything in the U.S. for a dollar store. Just more fun things, and actually things you could take back and say people would have thought you spent $20-$30 on. Some dishes and like sake glasses, things like that, to towels, little things here and there that are all like $1 or $2, 100, 200 yen. But to all these little shops and things. But we went up and cruised the mountain roads a little bit in John's car. He has a really nice Evo, an older, 96, 97, I forget what he said, Evo, that he's been restoring. It's really sweet from a car guy perspective, and went cruising around. But by the end of that day, come 5 or 6 o'clock-ish as we were cruising back, done. That much after 20-something hours of travel and airports and staying up running around all day, it was too much. And we were both crashing. Amy and I were ready to pass out, so I think we passed out that first night something like 7 o'clock, and we slept till probably... I actually got up a little early, but like 5 or 6 the next morning, so not quite 12 hours, but close. To start, at least it was nice because it kind of reset us to this time and been doing pretty good since. This is going to hurt me staying up this late. As I sleep in today, it'll mess up my schedule a little bit, but we'll be fine. So did that. We ran around base a little bit, trying to look at some of the sakura trees, the cherry blossoms, and things like that. One of the few things that we kind of had a goal here was to see the cherry blossom trees. And there are a bunch everywhere, and we really have lucked out because we came here right at the beginning of the season of them, where a lot of them hadn't fully blossomed yet, including the ones at base. But now that we've been here a week, they are really starting to blossom everywhere we've gone. And so we're seeing areas that are just littered with sakura, and it looks amazing. Let's see, Ken's asking, have I found any food you adore/hate? Nothing I hate, thankfully. Everything I've tried, I've enjoyed. Some more than others, like today, we went to Stone Bowl again. It's a kind of a nickname of one of the restaurants because that's one of their unique dishes. It's a Chinese restaurant where they serve it in a ceramic bowl that is so hot, it is actually cooking the food for you, and continuing to cook it. So get it in front of us, and the challenge was hungry, very hungry, so sitting there, waiting, stirring it up to let it finish cooking, put some of it out into a small dish to allow it to start cooling so you could actually eat it, put some soy sauce on it, stuff like that, and then put it in my mouth, and I have a burnt tongue. I have a little blister or whatever at the tip of my tongue, which is super annoying because it was too hot. But enjoy the experience, enjoy the food. I'm trying to think best stuff because the Japanese restaurant we went to in Tachikawa, which is one of the next major stops on the way towards Tokyo. There's a bunch of little ones because it's a constant city all the way through. But Tachikawa is another bigger city, I guess. We were there and just kind of wandering around in general on Friday nights, kind of like, hey, it's Friday night, we're in Tokyo, we should be out and seeing where people are. But we didn't quite have the energy to want to go all the way down to, what are some of the other big party areas and stuff? Shinjuku and stuff like that, where apparently everyone parties. And so I was like, oh yeah, let's maybe just go to the next biggest city, because Fuso's decent and that's like 50,000 people. But I don't know how big the next town is, but it's bigger. It's definitely bigger. And so we went to this little side place that was just like straight up, again, Japanese, every bit of it. And the dish we ordered was it was a hot plate or hot bowl. They brought out a burner, and they brought out a bowl or pan essentially that they stuck on it that had food enough for all three of us, because we just shared. But it was a combination of chicken with a cream-based sauce and a bunch of vegetables in it, mushrooms and I'm not sure what else. But this big mixture that was just boiling together, that was creamy, was amazing. Amazing food. And I don't know it was just kind of like homestyle food, I would say, but we had that, and partly we were waiting for a while because it had to cook when we finally got it, and it took a while to get it in the first place. And John and I were drinking some, I don't know, sake, wine, something. There's another one of those point and grunt. The first ones came out, they're grapefruit, and it was very grapefruit, and I was like, rah, but it was good. Second one's the one I chose was peach, and that was really tasty. A lot of good alcohol here, just saying. But all the drinks I've loved. The food we got there was amazing and creamy, and it was a huge portion. I ate a ton of it, but it didn't fill me up. So it was a lot of being able to hang out and eat and talk, and just awesome. And the environment there was, as like I say, the most Japanese experience I probably had. Afterwards, it was enough so that John, who's a big guy, in shape, works out all the time, eats well, was not quite satiated with. He had eaten a ton, but he was like, I need more meat. And so we walked around some further. We were getting ready to head back from Tachikawa back to Fusa. And as we were wandering around close to the station, I looked over and I saw what it looked like. I was like, is that a taco place? Because admittedly, you can find pretty much every ethnicity or type of food you want. Went to this place and John was like, I have never seen this before. Let's go check it out. Went in. It's a tiny closet place. It's amazing to me. One of the things is scale. In Japan, they use space efficiently, even to the point where I haven't taken a picture of this yet because I don't know if it's appropriate, but I wanted to mention is like the bathroom. Going to the bathroom here, which is actually, he's in a pretty big apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment with a study up front. It's actually pretty big, and for what he's paying rent, that's not bad at all, especially in Japan anywhere. And I'm in a fairly spacious kitchen / living room here. But the bathroom is set up where the main room's got the sink and vanity, but it's also got the combination washer-dryer. One room over is it's got doors into each of these from the bathroom. It's got the shower / bath, where you walk in and the shower head's on the wall, and that whole room there is essentially the shower bath, where traditionally in Japanese culture you shower, scrub yourself to clean. The bath is for relaxing and soaking, it's not for cleansing. And so this one, you use the shower head to clean yourself, and if you want to take a bath, you then move the nozzle over and fill the bath, and you would soak. Come back out and rinse yourself off with the shower again. Well, in the other room over is the toilet, right? And what's interesting about the toilet is, one, first experiences with toilets with heated seats, and I will tell you, very nice. Very nice. I do appreciate the heated seats. Heated toilet seats is nice. Get up in the middle of the night, go in there, and you don't have to worry about, freezing your butt on some porcelain. I admittedly might look into something like that for my own life, because it's kind of a luxury that's pretty pleasant. And then the other side, hey there, Tromad, welcome to the show, Wayne's Japanese Update. But the other thing that was cool about it, and it's funny because it also has a bidet and stuff, but I'm still not brave enough to try that. But there was, yes, I am tired, Tromad, but it's 3:30 in the morning here. So yeah, I suffer. But let's see. But on the back of the toilet, and I've never seen this before, is instead of it just being the top of the tank, just the the thing that covers it, what they've done And again, super efficiency here. They made it so that the water return that fills up the tank for a regular tank toilet, that top is actually a sink. And what happens is whenever you flush, the water, instead of just filling up inside the tank, goes through a little nozzle up and pours out as a spout. And so it still then drains into a hole that goes directly into the tank. So same amount of water you'd use anyways flushing, except instead of it just happening in the tank, it happens where now that water is available so that you can rinse your hands directly with essentially clean water that's going to fill the toilet, instead of the water just filling the toilet, which is essentially from the pipes potable water anyways. And so I looked and I was like, that's pretty slick. That's actually a surprisingly efficient way to use it, where, yeah, it's cold water, but you can rinse your hands right there in the sink that's part of the toilet. How cool is that? It makes sense. And so I looked at that like, I wonder if I can get these things at home. This seems just like it's so smart. It is just so smart. They do a lot of things like that. Unlike where my first like compact washer dryer I had in an apartment was, washer on the bottom, dryer on the top. This is all contained in the one, so you just throw your stuff in and hit full cycle, and it does the full cycle. It takes longer, and these little ones take I think they take 6-7 hours to do the whole thing, but your clothes when done are washed and dried. It's right there in the one container. It's pretty slick. So yeah, it's really interesting like that there's a ton of efficient things all throughout. I like it, although it goes good and bad, but for the most part, awesome. Anyhow, where I was going with, that was the toilet piece. I was talking about the food thing. So the taco place, getting back to the taco place, we go into this place, and like I said, it's tiny. A lot of these shops are, it's hard to describe from a lot of our world where you would have, this taco shop was smaller than this room. It was more the size of one of the bedrooms by itself, and that included everything, including the bar that the guy was working, and where he was making food and everything, to the seating area. Everything was probably one of the size of the bedrooms. And the guy running it, Japanese but obviously mixed, had kind of longer hair, and it was weird. It's a taco place, but the theme of the bar was more Hawaiian and island. Bunch of Hawaiian pictures and stuff like that up there. So American friendly bar. And we ordered, John ordered nachos, and I ordered a taco. He needed more food. And while the guy was making it, was great because he's pulling out actual plastic bags full of the ingredients, and they're super fresh, like the lettuce and everything. I was just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I can't wait. The other thing, which was kind of rare to see in Japan, was that they had all the hot sauces. They had Cholula, which is a major Colorado, you have Cholula with everything hot sauce, as well as your classic 3 flavors of Tabasco and some others. And it was just you have legit hot sauce. And it's funny that by itself, John was like, thank you, oh my god, I'm gonna come back here. But they also had some rarities that you don't get in Japan, which is things like Dr. Pepper. One of the big things that Amy keeps commenting on is they have nothing in Japan that's cherry flavored. You hear about cherry blossom sakura trees and stuff like that, but they have no actual cherry as a flavor here. And so one of the things they don't have any of is Dr. Pepper. And went to here, and they didn't just have Dr. Pepper, but they had drinks. I looked at it, and I was like, hey, let's get a drink, rum and coke, stuff like that, because trains, not driving anywhere, and walk from the train station back to his place. And they had Dr. Pepper and Coke. But in this case, rum and Dr. Pepper, which is my go-to drink. That is my jam. And they served them in mason jars at a good, proper amount. And it was so good. So great cap on the night. Did that, rode the train, so it was great. But what else was it to be said about there? It's just an awesome little place. And John said he's definitely taking his wife back there when he gets a chance. So that was a ton of fun. I'm trying to think some of the other stuff in general that we were doing. But that was an interesting food. But again, Japanese restaurant was probably the best food I've had. But everything I've had here has been wonderful. Even the stuff that we get from 7-Eleven from the convenience stores, awesome. One of the things I had to try, and I'm being silly, right? I'm trying things that I can get in America, but I'm just curious the differences. Is, the prepackaged sandwiches you get at a convenience store, like egg salad sandwich or tuna sandwich or this or that? They have all those, but its differences are, an American one normally you'll get like 2 slices, so like one overall slice of sandwich, and they're cut in an angle half, and you get the 2. In Japan, you get 3 in the package, and they have no crust, and so it's just the like middle of the bread and whatever sandwiches, and the ingredients they use are so good. And so even though it's convenience store like, sandwiches, it's just tasty. Just tasty. It's so tasty. Another example is like I'm having my Calpis drink, which not the soda, but just the melon drink essentially. It's like a melon yogurt drink. Really smooth, really tasty. I've also been spoiled because they have milk tea everywhere, which I really love. Sweet milk tea is so tasty. What other things? Like all the juices and stuff, just really nice. The food has been wonderful. It's super fresh, tastes amazing. So I've enjoyed all that. Drinks-wise, I've had a few things. John did introduce me to a drink here that I will say comes with a bit of a warning, and that is called Strong Zero. Strong Zero is a very inexpensive alcoholic beverage that you can get at almost any convenience store. And oh, by the way, you can drink openly on the streets here. Heads up. And Strong Zero is something that comes in the cans, just regular cans, but they have small and large ones, like almost not 40s, but larger cans. A regular can costs like $1.50 for it, for like a beer, essentially, a can of beer. And Strong Zero is 9% alcohol. So it's legit strong. You get a tall boy for basically $2 or just under that, and it's like, hey, now the warning. Strong Zero will light you up. And that's not even the bad part. I had one tall boy and was tipsy, no question. Walking around, finished drinking this thing, I was like, yep, I feel this, and not just a little bit. Like, I am day drunk off of one beer, essentially. But the key note is, I don't know what it's made with. I would argue formaldehyde. And John warned me, but after the one tall can of it, I could feel this ping kind of the top of my skull that said, ooh, that feels like the beginning of a very bad headache. And John said, this stuff will give you a migraine. If you are not careful, you will suffer. I could tell after the one tall boy drink of that, if I had a second, I would have been very unhappy later. And so I didn't. So what I would say about a Strong Zero is, yes, you could get seriously fudded up for very little money on Strong Zero. Don't do that. Strong Zero, I think, is a wonderful start to an evening. It will take you very quickly to, like, hey, I feel buzzed. At which point I suggest you quickly switch to any other alcohol. Because if you try to continue to drink on Strong Zero, you will hate yourself the next day. And Ken, I haven't either. I've never had a beverage which honestly just gave me a headache. I don't get migraines. Never had a migraine. I don't get headaches from, having too much to drink. I sleep a lot and I don't want to move and I ache, but never that classic headache, the light hits you and you're like, blah, that kind of hangover. Doesn't happen to me. This beverage, one can in, and I was like, oh, if I have more, this is going to suck, because I could already feel like, and it was in like a specific spot of the head, like this thing. So we talk about it being, and John says, oh yeah, that's the tumor. That's the beginning of the tumor. This stuff is not healthy for you. But if you come over, Strong Zero's in every convenience store. You can get lit any time of day, but please don't rely on it. Have one to start the night and then drink other things. And yeah, so go off of that. Ken, you asked about the flights. Actually, not bad. So I flew Korean Air. Admittedly, I like to support good advertising. Korean Air has always had good advertisements where they show that the girls all look very lovely, they're dressed very nice, and kind of harken back to the days of old air travel when it was still romantic. And I will tell you that in most cases that absolutely fit. They were very polite. They all dressed very nice, guys and girls both. They were very attractive for the most part. It was kind of nice, like, oh hey. Even the food on the plane was pretty good, a little different, but hot meals and stuff good. The one criticism I have is that difference in a Korean flight from a like German flight. They only gave me like one choice of alcohol for the trip. I was kind of like, what? I like to have my night drink and sleep overseas. I may have been able to ask for more, but just didn't. Also, Hando, said, I don't know if it was formaldehyde, but I will tell you that it hits you in a way that's not right. It tastes surprisingly good. One of the ones we had, the flavor was but they have a grape one, and I forget the other one we had that was actually really tasty. That's where they're equally dangerous. Just don't get drunk off Strong Zero, but drink Strong Zero. So the flight itself, I mean, they were long. Part of the challenge was I deferred to Amy and gave her the window seat each time with the long legs, and I took the middle seat. Not the worst thing because I had at least her next to me smaller, so not terrible, but at the same time not great because I always had someone big on the other side of me. The first leg, which was the shorter one from Denver over to Seattle or such that we were in, the guy next to me, I swear he must have had sleep apnea, some kind of breathing issue, because when he passed out, it was like he'd stop breathing and then like it's just weird. I kept looking like, dude, are you okay? And he was big enough that he encroached on my space, and I had to kind of lean over towards Amy. The long flight, we had this nice older gentleman. Why can't I ever be stuck between two tiny women or something, right? Give myself room. But and he was nice and all, older guy, but his issue was that, what was it? He at one point he had almost like restless leg syndrome because he kept tapping his leg next to me. I think he got annoyed by something and he just kept tapping the leg right next to me. I was just like, come on, dude. But for the most part, he was a nice guy. He got up, walked around a few times, wasn't too bad. He was amicable when we needed to get up for anything, but it was just, and that was on like the 10-hour leg, right? And so it was just like, holy cow. So that was rough. I did all right. I didn't actually sleep almost at all on the flight, even the long one, and that kind of screwed me up because part of it is we were chasing the sun, and in doing so, it never actually got dark. We left early enough that the sun was up the entire flight, and we needed to we had to keep the shades closed and stuff, and they only shut down the lights in the plane actually full dark for 3-ish hours of the flight, of like a 10.5-hour flight. And so that was a little rough for me. So instead I watched a bunch of movies. And so what did I watch? I watched Sing, which I enjoyed. I watched Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence and what's his face? I enjoyed that one. That one I enjoyed. I watched. They're all new, and thankfully ones I hadn't seen. And basically, I enjoyed them all for the most part. But those are the ones that stick out in my head right now. I'm trying to think the others. Like Sing, I didn't like at first until about halfway point, and they got better and better. And by the end, I was like, okay, this is cute. I started to watch Smurfs on the first flight, but I just didn't finish or get into it all the way. Or was it Smurfs? No, it was Trolls. I was trying to watch Trolls, that one. Anyhow, but yeah, so I mostly watched movies the whole way. What else? What else was happening? So the flights were all right. I enjoyed it. I'm not too worried about flying back on Korean Air again. I may try on the way back to ask for more alcohol because it still was an extra cost. It's just like, hey, I need more of that. I got wine or something and things. So, but yeah, that was the flights. They were fine. Transportation holds been fine since we've been here. Trains pretty much everywhere. Not cheap. We have a Sudeco card or something, which is a card you can just charge up, and apparently there's an app on your phone you could use with the near-field ID stuff, but I haven't tried that, and the cards work fine. You put them in, use English, recharge them with cash, that's fine. But again, cash. One of the challenges, like my bank personally only allows a certain limit on pulling out money each day, so I'm going to have to go buy again and pull out more. See how much they charge me for conversion fees and using an ATM overseas. So I'm losing money there, but it should work out. Other than that, I've done shopping. I've been getting little knickknacks here and there, both myself. I broke down And damn it, I should not have watched Iron-Blooded Orphans before coming over. Gundam, the new one, because I finally found a Gundam I like. And in doing so, they have Gundam models all over the place. And I could probably get them back in the States, but I went to a local toy shop, which is It was Fuyuko or something. Or it was like it basically sounds like Fukuya Toys or something. Fukuya Toys. It's essentially kind of how it's written. Just saying. But little mom and pop shop, went in there and I got a couple of the models from there versus basically the Walmart that's here. Because damn it, I love the show, and so I ended up doing that. That's the other things I've done that were kind of big. Akihabara, I feel like I kind of missed out on what really it has to offer because it's a big electronics district. And so if you were really going for a hunt for something, you could find some really good deals on like little cables and knickknacks and just every connection you want. There was a store that we kind of ran through, and I wish I'd focused more on it. It was essentially like a Fry's or Best Buy on steroids, but in Japan. And this is down in Akihabara, right off the station, just on the east side of it. I forget the name of the place. I have it in one of my vlogs. I have a picture of it. But it was like, because it was so many stories, and this is actually kind of a message of all the stores here. It was at least 7 or 8 stories tall. All the big shop, although they have kind of miniature shops inside of it that you maybe can only buy in this section or that section. It seems like, although I haven't got it confirmed, that a lot of them you're not supposed to take goods from one floor to another before you purchase. You have to purchase on each, and when you do purchase something, what they do is they put it in the bag and then they usually seal the bag. They either tie the top of it together. Their bags, plastic bags, have the handles, and then in between they have ties, and you tie those together that keeps it shut, or they'll put a piece of tape or some kind of thing that indicate you have already purchased this. And then they let you go off with to get other things. But this thing is like 7 stories tall of just every kind of gadget you had. And people who saw it, that's where I put a picture up of the Techademic or the Technics or whatever turntable for a record player. The new 1200C, whatever, with the copper plate that they were selling for, what was it, like the $1,400 or something like that. I forget how much. It was 140,000 yen or something like that, or a million something yen. Anyhow, but they were selling for that. I was just like, I haven't actually seen this in stores, and that's awesome for the Technics 1200. But they had everything in there that you could imagine, including, which surprised the hell out of me, some old school CD Walkmen. Like legit CD Walkman, not MP3 players, but like you can walk around and put a physical disc in. Walkman. What? But they had those. To you name it. And I didn't even spend nearly the kind of time I think I could have in there. I didn't want to bore Amy to tears. But it was like I walked into like the super Best Buy kind of thing, and I was like, I could just stay here. That place was pretty damn cool, and I found it right towards the end of running around there. And they also have just arcades everywhere. And they had all the little maid cafes, owl cafes, cat cafes, so everything from people in costume that would serve you in a cafe to being able to eat with different kinds of animals right around you, including a whole cafe filled with owls. That's all out there in Akihabara, which is on the east end of Tokyo. Who knows, we may get back to some of that at some point here again. It would be really interesting to see some of those a little more in depth. What are the kind of big deals with that? Again, we hit it hard and fast, which is almost a problem because essentially I'm left now where the things I want to do after the fact now are limited to potentially seeing more shrines and stuff, and I've already seen all the ones around here. But I don't know. Like, I'd like to go to the robot restaurant show, but it's like $70 a person, and it's a burlesque show, which could be cool, but that's a lot of money for one day. I kind of want to ride a bullet train, but they're really, really expensive. Really expensive. And yes, Hando, on my Facebook, I already shared the Iron Man one. It's pretty damn cool. We can talk about that after the break. But so I've kind of almost hit it too hard. A suggestion I make, because I'm basically slow rolling it here in that I don't want to be constantly like rushing to do things and have every moment planned out, And so I gave myself a lot of freedom of extra days. In doing so, we've actually been kind of lazy a lot of the days. Just walking around shopping at like the Walmart stuff, getting little knickknacks here and there. But in essence, I would say if you do travel here, plan out a little more scheduled. Give yourself a day or two of just chill, but plan out things to do every day or two or every day if you can. I think it really helps because I'm kind of at a loss now what to do with the next week and a half of my time here. There's some little nuances, like things I want to do. There's a local sake brewery that I want to go with John to here, but beyond that, it's going back to the downtown areas and seeing little things. Now, one of the beautiful things is meeting up with Casey and Lloyd. We had some scheduled stuff where we did go see the Studio Ghibli Museum, which was awesome. Holy cow, it was fun. It is such a just into the mind of animators from an old school level, because I love Ghibli films. I love things like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Kiki's Delivery Service, all the big ones that basically people in the U.S. know, Ponyo and stuff like that. Love all those things. And you can tell instantly when you see Ghibli animation, the way his characters look, the style, instantly. They have it set up. It's really weird. The building is this big building that actually reminded me a little bit of like a Nickelodeon type set or something, where it's a little over the top, kind of Dr. Seuss-ish. Nothing like anything else in Japan that I've seen. Not modern or anything like that. It's just kind of its own little surreal area. Yet it's not as filled with activities as you might think it would be, but it's still got a bunch of cool stuff. There's no video or photography inside of it, and so they want you to just experience it. But going in, there's some rooms that kind of show kind of the basics of animation. They actually have a few things set up like this where you can see actual film being rotated over thing and light shining through, so you can see the scenes playing out, so you really do see what a film looks like in this day and age of digital. They show how some old animation techniques work, everything from flip boards that you go through for storyboards where it flips like an old paper, like kind of thing of animation to show stills. They show some things from storyboarding all the way through like paint or ink and full animation of the cells and stuff like that to different levels. So it's really cool to kind of get inside the process and see some old animation types. One of the biggest things I noted from it, and they apparently change out the themes every 6 months or so for kind of how a lot of the stuff that's up around the museum. There's a lot of animation from Studio Ghibli I have never seen. And one of the things I'm going to have to do when I get home is go through this whole list of I need to reacquaint myself with a lot of the older work that the studio did and some of these newer ones that I've just never seen. There is a lot out there I've been missing out on. Things I'd never seen. I was like, God, I thought I was pretty good at this, but there was so much, and it goes way back to really where they started, the old stuff, where I'm like, oh, they've been around a long time. They had a great mock-up of what it may have looked like in the offices and the main office for Ghibli. Kind of fanciful. I don't know if it was as cluttered as they had it, but what's cool about that is they showed references that they had for all these things, because one of the rooms they focused on animation of movement, and in doing so they had a video playing of horses just running on loop, as well as a picture breakout of a dog running in full motion, like a greyhound running. And then they showed animation stills of where they were showing how they were capturing motion, which is something that's always been a big deal about his movies, is that they really capture the way people move and interact, and even animals move and interact in a way that's very realistic and almost creepy in a sense. But it shows how much detail they spent doing it. There were tons of images of countrysides and trains and things, all the stuff that you see as elements in their movies that they capture real life. How many references they use, books just about architecture, books about structures of engineering, things like that. Because one of the other cool things is a lot of the devices, especially in some of the more modern things, some of the flight ones they've had, and they have a new one I need to go check out, or one at least, it's not new, but I just have never seen. I think it's a story about a main character being turned into a pig person kind of thing, but it's a bunch of flying and kind of, not steampunk, but that kind of extra articulation and flying machines and such they have. They showed a bunch of models they had that basically work, that you would really be hard-pressed to say that wouldn't fly if it was a real thing. and they showed how a bunch of detail they put into the gearing and stuff, that when you actually turn all the gears, all the right things move. And so they took it a step beyond just like, hey, this is fanciful and cool, to this probably would almost work if it was real. They also had a bunch of, fan service stuff of like big models of things. So they had a not room size, but like a 7-foot tall mock-up or model of Howl's Moving Castle. They had a cool play area that was essentially a big plush cat bus that kids were just running and jumping and climbing all over. They had a big cat bus you can sit in that we sat in, which was pretty slick and comfy and neat. Just all these little details to make you smile, and some things that I don't want to spoil, but like full mock-ups of things that I was like, holy cow, somebody made this, and it's almost like it's real. It's so cool. There are also areas to walk around outside. It's funny because so not Americanized in that you walk in, there's this massive like indoor spiral staircase going up that's all caged in that you climb in, and I don't know if it's because it's designed for kids mostly, and you can tell there's a lot of kids running through this place like this is a wonderland for kids, or just because Japanese people tend to be a little more slight in size. But me going up, I'm crunched in this thing the whole time. It's just this tight little spiral going up like 3 stories. Almost getting tired by the top and then getting out on top of it. And you're looking over these big entryways looking down into the multiple stories of it. And then walking through these hallways, not hallways, but little archways between where the stairs were there and the main hallways that were like only like 3.5 feet tall. And so all of us were like, I'm not going to crawl, but I really have to crouch to get through here, not bang my head. In fact, Casey actually did bang his head on one of the places. I forget which. But there's also a moment where we were upstairs looking around, and we kind of walked around in this walkway. There's just like it had a walkway going over the whole thing. Again, it's like you're looking down just at space. But they also had little alcoves that kind of came out that you could look over. And I looked down, there were so many people walking back and forth and just different stairways and stuff like that it actually looked like a scene out of Harry Potter. Looking down at just all these different walkways and people was really cool. And so, I mean, it's kind of a light experience. I mean, it was only $10 to get in, but it's cool. It makes you smile. And the park next to it was gorgeous. We walked around a lake north of it that had sakura trees just blossoming everywhere. And gorgeous. Got a lot of pictures of that. Really neat. Something definitely to see if you get a chance. Challenges, I've heard it's very hard to get tickets. We were very fortunate because Casey and Lloyd were able to find these tickets. Apparently they had a site that they sell like a couple tickets a month ahead of time each time, but they sell out quick and they're full all the time, so you have to really plan ahead to get there. But that was awesome. We then ran with Casey and Lloyd all around to where they had stored their things. You can store luggage just outside of like the stations, but it's like $30 a day to get it, and so it's an additional cost, but it does give you some freedom. And then we went down to the Ramen Museum down in Yokohama, where it's set up, I was saying, kind of like Casa Bonita in the U.S., where it's a tourist trap, but they kind of set up like an old school, really tight Japanese like city, where the walkway you could just touch both sides easily, walking through like these little dark alleys kind of thing. What they have is a bunch of ramen shops set up all through these 2 stories that are underground, where you go up to it's old-fashioned like the machines, where you pick what you want on the machine, put it in, the money in, it prints a ticket, as well as what you want to drink and such, and you take those tickets to the person at the ramen shop. They take them, start the food going, and when they seat you, they can then just take you and seat you, and your food comes pretty quick. Neat experience. Hot, kind of stuffy, but I mean, authentic in a way. It really felt old school. That was a lot of fun too, and I thank Casey and Lloyd for bringing us to that, making us do that, and then having us travel back on our own after that as they went off to go do ninja things the rest of the time. But super cool. Anyhow, so that's where I'm at today, I guess, officially with the Japanese trip. I also have it out there that feel free to email me at docdead@gmail.com, as well as if you're on social media, I had posted some things, if you're following me there, where I'd put kind of I'm here for the next however many days till the 21st, essentially. If there are things you think I should do, let me know, because I'm actually open to suggestions. I did not plan it as strictly as I probably should or could have, and so I have a lot of freedom in what I might do within the rest of the next couple weeks. I'm trying to get Amy to give me some more direction in what she wants to do, but beyond that, we'll see. I know John's got some other ideas, and so we'll cruise around, but That way I at least have some things to like, yeah, I should go do that. I've had a few people that are suggesting, so I may have more, but by all means, help plan my trip for me. Be awesome. All right, I'm going to take a break, play some music, drink a little bit. I'm going to play some Edifice, Biomachines. Feels proper for what's going on. Yeah, unfortunately I can't get into the Imperial Palace, but I might be able to walk around it, Truman. All right. That's a sign that I need to take a break. When we come back, I will read some emails. Thank you guys for sending those in and maybe talk about some of the recent geek news that we've been seeing online. But yes, you're listening to Show X with a recap of Wayne's Japanese trips going on. Please feel free to ask questions. I will continue to answer it live. Please follow my video blogs and stuff so you can see what's going on day to day with maybe a little more detail and pictures and such. But yeah, now we're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
One solitary subtle point of light. One sensory perception of his life.
listening to Show X on btwproductions.com.
Hey everybody, look, I'm back! Alright, so, I was figured I would come back in and make sure to look at some emails. So thank you both, Ken and Hando, for writing in. Let's see, Ken, you got there first, and so we'll say, hello! Been a very work-heavy week, and so not much to say. However, new expansion for Hearthstone is out as of this week, and I have some gold saved up, so it's been my go-to toilet game. Also, Magium released the latest chapter for the game/app/book combo, so I'm holding back playing that. Factorio is awesome. Multiplayer is always fun. I recommend it. Hope you've not turned 100% anime. That coming from Ken, level 25 scientist, Western Alliance, William Wallace server, UK. That's funny. Thank you, Ken, for your update. Also, an email in from Hando. And he comes in saying, well, Hollywood, you finally got one right. I'm sure it took an original copy of a script which was terrible, several rewrites, producers trying to inject nonsense and noise, and finally Hugh Jackman threatening to walk off the set in order for you to get it right, but you did. The movie was the best thing I've seen since the first season of Daredevil. Don't let anyone tell you this movie is tame in its violence. It's pretty damn brutal and everything we imagine Wovey capable of. The casting of X-23 was perfect, and having seen Narcos on Netflix recently, Boyd Holbrook was an excellent choice for Pierce, the mutant hunter from Transgen Industries. Even my girlfriend, who's not a comic book fan, was heard to have a sniffle or two during some of the emotional parts and several oohs and wows during the rest. Nerds, go see this movie, your pal Hando. That is his review of Logan, which he recently got to go see. I quite enjoyed Logan, that is for damn sure. I wanted to actually throw a shout out to, well, a couple shout outs, but let's see. Let me throw this one in there. That my friend Dawn, cosplayer, her father, actually, who is also a good cosplayer and doesn't necessarily get nearly the love he should. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do, Dawn. I'm going to share my screen here, so for people who are watching the video feed, which I highly recommend you do, hopefully you'll be able to see this. It's going to be a little more clunky since I'm on a single screen instead of multiple screens, which I normally would be. But her father does a great Wolverine cosplay, and this is where I messed up because I had the link and then I clicked off of it because I did it wrong. Let's see if I can go back to where I first saw it. But went from there. There. Come on, where was it? One of the challenges is her dad has been doing Wolverine for a while now, and his Wolverine is pretty on point. Challenge has been is her dad's a little older, and so while he's been cosplaying Wolverine for years now, and several iterations of it, they didn't always look like the Wolverines we've been seeing in so many of the movies. Well, at WonderCon, he got to pull out, and yeah, we'll just go with that picture. He got to update his costume to basically reflect the new movie. And so, alright, I say clunky because I'm going to have to click to the streaming software and tell it to show the screen, and then click back. So, clicking on the screen here. For those watching, this is Don's father, and it was shared by Easy Cosplay Costumes, so it's got enough recognition that even costume sites recognized it. His name's Dave Stefferson, and he pulls off a Logan that, as Old Man Logan, he is finally getting to shine. And so at WonderCon, he showed up, and this, I don't know the gal, but it's daughter of Nerd Alert, so I don't know what her name is, did X-23, and together they looked almost spot out of the movie kind of thing. And I've seen a couple of the photos of him that he did from that and like some next to the poster, and a lot of us were kind of commenting like, Don, why are you just posting pictures of the new Logan movie and Hugh Jackman? But it was her dad, and he looks absolutely phenomenal. Biggest challenge she's had, and this is why I want to give him credit as well, is a lot of other people were posting as though he was someone else, like other big Wolverine costumers. In fact, there's a lot of people who have commented in it about, oh, is it this guy? And it's like, no, not that guy. It's Dave. And so she was able to get people to clear up the exact who it is, because people mistagged it. And she was getting annoyed because it's like, damn it, one of the few times my dad actually is getting the recognition he deserves, I want to make sure it's right. And so, big shout out to him for doing a really phenomenal cosplay, and from the Logan movie, it just looks spot on. I'm so happy that, in a way I commented on it was that the movie came out and now he's finally able to get his own, to actually show how good he is at pulling off an older Logan. Absolutely phenomenal. Let's see, what else with that? I did also need to throw a couple shout outs. One, as we are talking, I need to do a shout out to Jessasaurus Rex, the cosplay group Jesse and Laura that I've talked about before, one of the more power Denver-based cosplay couples I know that are both gorgeous. They are in the process right now of getting married. They're up at a nice location, a little small venue with people getting married as we speak, and I'm sad that I'm not there. They were having a very small ceremony, and they said they were only inviting a handful of people, but I was on the list, and it broke my heart to have to tell them I'd be in Japan while they were getting married, because of people I know I would absolutely love to have been at their wedding. So big congratulations to them. Hope their ceremony is going wonderfully, and I can't wait to see them in the future as a married couple. So that'll be awesome. So shout out to them. Other comment I'm going to say, because I don't know if I have any notes on it, but because we're talking movies, is that I keep feeling I have to defend this, so I'm going to bring it up. I don't know how many people have went out and watched the new the Ghost in the Shell movie, the live-action Ghost in the Shell movie. I did. Saw it opening night, saw it first thing because I wanted to catch it before coming out to Japan. I wanted to see it without people constantly trying to spoil it and say other things. I want to throw out my opinion yet again. I've done it on social media, but it's that I quite enjoyed the Ghost in the Shell movie, the live-action movie with Scarlett Johansen. I thought it was wonderful. I went into it concerned. I went into it suspect. Wasn't happy with things I had seen about some of the decisions, and when they first started talking in the movie, it seemed exactly like what my concerns were right there, and I was not going to enjoy it. Goes through the movie, and partway through, some things are better explained, and when that happened, I was able to suddenly start enjoying the movie significantly more. Maybe I'm the only one, but when I saw it, I did not see it as a remake of the original film, because the way the storyline takes place and what they're showing, it's more of a, in my opinion, a prequel to the original movie. Because in the original Ghost in the Shell movie, the Major is a seasoned veteran of doing these kind of operations and things, and it just goes right into the story. This movie deals with a lot of the how did she get there? How did other members of the team get to they were when we were first truly introduced to them in the anime? Argument can be made that it feels like it is trying to be a remake of the main story, and that they take a lot of elements from the series and stuff as they're trying to do a singular movie. Maybe that's the case. But if you look at it in the sense that it's maybe just a shift slightly before, and I arguably will say that the very end of the movie leads into, essentially, loosely, but leads into where the animated movie begins, it makes way more sense, and it is far more, and you understand it significantly better that way. So because of that, I bring it up because I constantly see people posting over and over this concept of whitewashing, the movie that people who really feel like they missed an opportunity in Hollywood to cast an Asian lead for the Major instead of Scarlett Johansson. I myself, not offended by the choice. I think she did a fine job. People talk about her performance being somewhat, robotic, but I think it fits for where her character's at in it, and I think she does just fine. Yes, they could have gone with more Asian characters, but they also did that kind of a mixing of roles between a bunch of different characters. And I believe what Hollywood... it's one of those things. If people wanted every character in this movie to be Asian when it was made, it probably shouldn't have been made by Hollywood. Go look at what they're doing with the Full Metal Alchemist movie that they're making live action. That's not Hollywood. I believe it's a Japanese company, maybe Chinese or something, but I believe it's a Japanese company making the live action Full Metal Alchemist, and thus they're casting all Asian actors. Go figure, makes sense. This is a Hollywood film with Hollywood stars, and so yes, they probably could have grabbed a couple notables for the lead. They still, I think, did a good job of addressing and Americanizing the overall look and feel of the movie for an American audience. They were trying to make something that would sell to the masses here in the US, followed by the world. And I think they made something that absolutely can. A lot of people are coming up trying to be vindicated, saying that it's only made $16-20 million or something in the opening weekend of a $100-something million movie to make, and that's going to fail and lose like $60 million. These people are spiteful and vindictive, are against it for, I think, some of the worst reasons. They're not... Most of them that I've talked to or seen have not actually seen the film, and so I don't think they have a leg to stand on. They're so offended on behalf of people who I don't see are actually coming out as being offended, that they're trying to say nobody should watch this because of what they see as a slight against people who aren't complaining. And thus they're trying to crush this movie to punish Hollywood, right? I am so happy that they did a live-action Ghost in the Shell. I'm so happy that someone had the courage to try to make more anime come to life. I want it to be successful so we see more of this. I think it's actually a legit good story and presentation, so I want people to like it. I have people I know who are die-hard fans who are just like, screw you, I don't want to. And actually, Copy, you make a good point, right? That I wasn't going to get into anyways about anime, which is that almost all anime is either strictly Asian or white. They animate characters that look nothing like Asian folk. If you even look at those main characters, how many of them have non-rounded eyes and things like that? Even in it, it's not accurate to say that they're truly Asian characters. But anyhow, what I really want to get out there is please don't prejudge this movie because of all the BS you're hearing people complain why you shouldn't like it. If you like the series, go watch it. I thought it was quality and made. It's not a perfect movie. It's not amazing, but it's good. And I think if you fit it in the right timeline, it actually benefits and actually improves the overall story that we've heard about Ghost in the Shell. All right, off my chest, done, off that soapbox. But I wanted to bring it up because it keeps bugging me because almost every day I'm seeing posts. I'm trying to respond without lashing out at people because they're super sensitive to the issue. And I'm just like, hey, here's my perspective. And I have people just trying to crush me down for that even. Well, here's my forum, and I'm telling you, get off your high horse, shut up, go watch the movie, and then at least have an informed opinion. And try to go in with an open mind. Don't go in with the idea that I'm just going to hate it because it's not what I exactly thought it should be. And yeah, Copy, as she said, should all cosplayers exclusively be Asian? It's so many levels where it's basically hypocritical of these people to get pissed on the things they do. And the way I put it, I'm tired of people getting offended on behalf of others who have not shown offense. That's my biggest issue. And loosely, a lot of people are labeled into a thing of being social justice warriors as one of the labels that often gets associated with that. But it's the idea that I just am tired of people just finding reasons to be mad all the time and bitch, versus where you could just enjoy life and have some fun. Anyhow, okay. Done. Off that. Let's talk about interesting stuff. And again, you can continue to ask me questions about what's going on in Japan and stuff like that. And unfortunately, what you guys mentioned about all the other places, could I been? Have I been? No, I haven't been with a geisha. No, I haven't actually gone to. What are some of the other locations that you brought up? Let me go back to the IRC. But we were talking about, I think it was it Tromad or was it Serathis? Someone had mentioned in there about going to like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. No, not really planning on it because I'm not on the Guilt tour. Interesting things, and I may have to, is like where the Battle of Sekigahara took place. One of the challenges I've had here is finding history. They have some of the shrines and stuff, which are great. I haven't actually been to any of the temples, but actual history, Japan is such a modern society and city, they don't focus on the past as much as you think. Now, Casey and Loy have done so. They've gone down to the ninja villages down in off Kyoto, and I have to look at their pictures again, but they've actually found some pretty cool old stuff that they're taking advantage of it. But sorry, okay, when I say Guild Tour, it's a joke based off friends of mine who went all up the Asian coast, visiting places that were all places we were involved in major wars in, and they jokingly called it their guilt trip. Sorry, inside joke, but yeah, it's history, you're right. But it's finding some of the history is kind of tough. I was hoping to see more locally to where I'm at, but I have to kind of travel to more rural areas for more of the history. So I haven't done that yet. A Ryokan, I'm not sure what that is, Kuro. Is that a... like, I know some people that did pod stuff, things like that. But I have not done that. Like I said, no geishas. I was tempted to go check out a theater, live action theater, to see Kabuki. I'm tired. My pronunciation is going to go worse. I was actually also tempted to go to a theater and try to watch what it was, Fish Pedicure. That'd make me laugh. Whatever the biggest selling anime or grossing anime out there right now, like Your Name or something like that, or again, tired, starting to lose it. I was just, even if I wouldn't understand Navy, I was tempted to see. Like at the Ghibli Museum, they actually showed an animation that I've never seen that was beautiful. Okay, off all that. On to news and stuff. What was I just seen? So, Hando, you posted a video of it. I had it on my social media. Well, Iron Man can be a thing. There's a video out there, and I'd have to look specifically to find it. Hando, you may link it again, because I think it was further up in the chat. Although, let's see, do you still have it there? There it is. Jet-powered exoskeleton. So, there's a guy out here who, in his geek world, basically created a jet exosuit. It's not 100%, but he's got multiple jets on his arms, basically 2 on each side, a couple on his back, and he's actually shown it with a couple on his feet. Basically, he's mimicking the Iron Man suit. The crazy part is, and no idea how long it flies yet or anything like that, but the creator, who's 38-year-old oil trader, Richard Browning, said he's working on a real-life Iron Man suit. Amateur inventor has been secretly building a jet engine-powered exoskeleton suit. He just released his the basic first video of him doing it. It looks very similar to the clip out of Iron Man where he's first learning to fly. Although he starts on a lower setting, but there's a couple outtakes of him being flipped over and stuff. It says, currently he can stay in the air for up to 10 minutes. He says he could eventually fly for at more than 60 miles an hour to an altitude of about 300 or about 100 meters. Although he's trying to keep it safe at the moment. As he's trying to focus on improving the suit's performance and with longer flights, I believe more control. He's also trying to look at some ways to build some safety gear into it. He says right now it's going to cost about $250,000, but hey, you're building an Iron Man suit. How much does that cost? If you haven't seen it, check the link in the IRC that Hando posted. It's pretty cool. What impressed me the most was how close it actually looks like to it could be a thing. Like, he got this thing going, and I look at how he flies, and again, it looks very much like he is trying to mimic Iron Man. It really does. It's really cool. I like that one, so check that out. And please watch the video on it, because it is surprisingly geeky to see how close he's gotten. What other stuff to talk to? Oh, hey. A little more Japan because Kuro, you're on. Tonight's video is going to show that I went for a cruise up in the mountains again, up to a lake. In fact, it was Lake Okutama. And the road we took, I forget how long it took us to get up there. It's an hour or something each direction. Or it should be. At 40 kilometers per hour, which is what it should be. Well, no comment on how fast we may have gone, but I'm going to post a video separate from the daily vlog that is just the driving. And Kuro, I think you'll highly appreciate it because, as John has stated, this is probably I would argue, one of the premier driving roads in the world. We'll argue that pretty strongly. It has everything you could possibly want as someone who appreciates driving a car. The roads are tight and narrow, but they have amazing curves constantly, and it's constant uphill climb to a peak and then downhill to a lake. Japan has amazing roads. They're well maintained, and what they've done, and I'm trying to decide the reason for it, but they've actually added grip tape to the roads. Grip tape. Think of like a skateboard top where you would run and the grip tape that you'd have on a skateboard to ride on. They put that on their roads or something similar on a lot of their curves and things leading up to their curves. And what it allows for is you can actually get more grip going around a corner and do it faster than you could without. The more we thought about it, the more we drove it, because you can drive it quick. I believe they did so to actually get rid of drifting around the corners, because I would say if you were trying to drift a corner and you hit this grip tape, it would probably throw you into the wall because you get too much grip. But it also means you can drive around the corner in a straight line faster. And so like as a normal race car versus kind of to drift it, you can just book around these roads. It helps that John has it's like a 96 or something, but it's an Evo, is it 3 or 4? I keep messing up. I want to say it's an Evo 4 that he's got. That he's built up, pushing great boosts and powerful. And he's got good tires on it, good brakes on it, and he's driven these roads enough that he's very comfortable. And he hit it harder than I probably could have been comfortable with, but at the same time, I never once felt like he was out of control. It was awesome. It was like driving Nirvana, and it was funny because the drive today was totally fogged in, wet because it rained, but it made for some awesome pictures. I've took photos of it and video I got of the trip that I can't wait to edit together and put out there. I have some quick clips that'll go on right after the show on my YouTube channel of the day in general, but I'll post the actual driving clips as a separate piece. So for you, Kuro, that, as well as, oh my god, the cars. As a car guy, there are some amazing ones, but it's interesting. If I were most anywhere else in Japan, I probably wouldn't see any of the classics that we all know and love as car people from Japanese motorsports. Because I am near an Air Force base and there's a lot of us gaijin here, a lot of non-Japanese, in John's experience at least, he has shown that the only people who buy these old cars are foreigners. That the Japanese people are buying new cars. And so I see a ton of like Porsches around driven by Japanese men, G-Wagons and stuff like that, and high-end Mercedes. But I've yet to see a Japanese person driving like a GTR. And I've seen several GTRs. Or Sylvia or anything like that. The one exception is I've seen, they have these tiny damn cars. Little boxes and tiny cars here, little Clios and stuff. I've seen Japanese guys driving these tiny ones. Today at the service station heading up, I did see a Japanese guy driving a Miata, first gen Miata NA with a roll bar on it. Little old guy. I was like, sweet, that guy's cool. You know, but all like the tricked out, what we would consider amazing Japanese import cars are driven by like Americans for the most part here. Kills me. And John's issues had trouble finding old used parts. One of the things I had to do is actually bring him injectors because he had cracked one of his from the U.S. because it's easier to bring an old one from my garage than for him to find one locally here. So nuts. But at the same time, when you do see the cars here, they are amazing. I don't know if, Kuro, you saw the pictures of the car lot I saw where they had an R33 sitting there. And what was the one I saw for you? They had an S2000 there that was like 13 grand. The GTR was like 13 or 14 grand. They had a 350Z there for, what was it, 7 grand or something, or 8 grand? Like nothing. John's afraid that when he leaves, he's going to have to sell his car for dirt to some carrier for like 5 or 6 grand or less. And it's an amazing car, and we were trying to figure out how we could import it legally to the U.S. because it's so nice. But it would be so expensive in time to do it. Yes, I do have, if you look at my Japan 2017, you'll see some of the pictures in my album on my page. Not on Death's House, but on mine. Anyhow, so the car scene here is still something where it's like, and the drive today was amazing. All right, I swear I was going to go back to news and stuff as I have about a half hour left. What other things did I see that were all interesting news-wise? I'm sorry, getting this set up, I wasn't able to log into all the accounts, so I don't have my show notes in front of me that I was trying to catch up on. I was trying to think some of the other things I had witnessed. So there's real news in the world. There's things about Korea's being idiotic, and me being closer to them now. It's a little more like, hey, stop it. Politics is try to stay away from right now. There's some other gaming things, and damn it, I wish I had my notes up what I was going to talk about with that. One of the notes I saw today, I was reading an article about, was what is the challenges of not having, physical media anymore for games when everything's digital download. It's an interesting discussion because one of the problems is when everything you buy now is digital, you only have it as long as you have it on your drive, depending on whether it needs authentication or something, or as long as a service is available to do that. We're fortunate as PC users right now that Valve is all things good. But that's as long as Valve is all things good. This article came up, or discussed, because people with PS3s and Xbox 360s are potentially going to run into a thing where those systems become no longer supported. What happens when that happens? One of the things that in the licenses for Microsoft especially, I think both, basically states that you only own a game, you own the game or the license to use it, but you only have access as long as they make it available. Essentially giving you no cause to say, hey, they took it down off their store, I hadn't downloaded it, and now I can't access a game I paid for. They're essentially saying, well, too bad, you should have had it before. So there's a discussion about the risk of basically losing access to things you paid for, since you don't get a physical copy. This is something that was an argument that came up when Steam first started going big, and the risks associated with it. One of the things that, again, we're fortunate because Steam's been good, and it continues to be good. Even for people who dislike it as a whole, for the most part, it's good. But there's a hope, at least on PC side, that if you knew it was coming, you see it coming, you could download all your stuff, and there's a potential they could always put up a thing that basically would give you a way to own your own authentication, so it wouldn't have to go to the Steam servers, that they could release the games as standalone. So there may be something you could do with that. But the problem still exists. If I own all these games and I have nowhere to stick them, I can't download them in the future because a service goes down, then what do you do? It's going to hit consoles first, and I'll be very curious to see how it works out. Because yes, as Copy saying, I love my cartridges. When you have physical media, you can always just plug it in and play, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about it. You don't, hell, heaven forbid, have to worry about updates and stuff. But in the modern world we're in today, you could have a service go belly up, and you're out potentially thousands of dollars of things you paid for access for. What do you do? It's weird because I don't have an answer for it. I have a hope. My hope is that the services that provide will continue to stay up there and do things, and that, at least on the PC side, if it goes away, that they provide some means to allow you to back up. Console side, I don't think it'll happen, and because new consoles are there being so lazy about backwards compatibility and stuff, even though you could totally make an emulator and do it with any of them, that people are going to run into this where they have an old game they paid for that they no longer can get. Essentially, it's not even gray, it's abandonware, right? But forced abandonware where you're screwed. I keep wondering if there's not some kind of legal recourse that people could have that basically would force these companies to provide some way of doing it. If nothing else, what I would like is a receipt that basically says I own a license to have this game. And therefore, if I were to acquire the files for that game from another source besides the service, I should be safe and fine and covered to use it forever because I have paid for a license to use it. And therefore, you could have some service that might have an archive of old games, an honor system or something, I don't know, but a way for people to go get it. I don't know. And so, it's something that's a concern that I keep an eye on. I think we're okay at the moment, but I could see a future where that could really suck, because I still have games on media, right? I haven't thrown away any of my old CDs and stuff. I still have an archive of the old-fashioned booklets full of old games. The only ones I have gotten rid of a couple, but it's ones where I now have a digital copy on Steam or something, or I've acquired through GOG or one of the sales that I maybe throw away some old. If it was store-bought, I kept it, but if it's ones that I had acquired through some other means and still had it, I let them, right? I let them go if I had a newer copy. But I'm concerned that I'll get screwed by this too, because there's some old games I like to revisit, things like Loom, Secret Monkey Island, stuff like that. Every once in a while I get a hair to say like, let me go check that out again. It's bad enough trying to find something like DOSBox to make some of these work, but to not even have access to the title that you paid for, that's a concern of mine. I do care about that. Alright, what else? Unfortunately, I haven't been playing any games really. I tried to at least look at Factorio before I left, but I died I didn't even die, I just played it running around a bit and had no idea what I was doing. Yes, thank you GOG, because GOG gives you full license to them so you can at least download them, but they still have the issue where if it goes away, you haven't downloaded it, it's an issue, but at least you could download it and have it, which is nice with GOG. We need to work Kurok still on the cache server so I can have more things installed. Mostly what I've been playing actually locally has been Pokemon Go. I've been taking the opportunity that I've been walking a lot to try to level up in Pokemon. And I have not leveled up yet because I'm level, still 25 or something on this? Which sucks. I don't know how much it takes to actually level. But I have been wandering around and getting more miles. I've been hatching more eggs, a couple here, and trying to get all the candies I can with the new system, especially trying to get my Magikarp to finally have enough to evolve into a Gyarados, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. And so, what am I? I'm level 25. I'm not even halfway on the damn XP. Killing me. Nice thing is most places I've gone have been fairly thick with Pokestops. And so for a change, I'm actually able to stay leveled up on all of that. And while I've been able to catch Pokemon each day, I don't know, for one, what the Japanese or Asian market exclusive is, where in the US the Americas it's Taurus. So I'm not sure what I'm even looking for with that. I did get, I fought at least one gym and took out, and I made sure to put a Taurus in it. So I could be like, well, there you go. I'm going to put something American in your Japanese gym. Because I'm an ass. But I've been playing a lot of this. It just kills me since I'm not level. I'm actually trying to get on a blitz because when I last leveled or something, I got a lure, I think I got a lucky egg. All the stuff to kind of help maximize it. So I'm saving enough stuff so I can do a mass evolve of people and hopefully get that to level me up. I've been playing a lot of that. I've still been playing on the phone my the Heroes game for Star Wars Heroes. That my guild's in with my cousin and everyone. That's fun. It's a little side thing to do when I can. Unfortunately, they all require internet, which sucks, so I couldn't play them on the phone or anything. But PC-wise, I've just been using the laptop to edit videos and try to get my vlog up each day. So that's all I've been doing for gaming, lack of gaming. I have played at the arcades. I got to sit down with Tekken 7, which is still coming to the US, but I got to play it locally here. Realized it's been a while, so I didn't do well. Played a UFO game, which are the little, like, what would normally be considered a claw game in the US, but they do it a little differently here, where you actually knock the item down into the prize zone where you can pull it out. And they set it up in ways that you can't just hit it. You have to, like, play multiple times to get the right angle to pull it off, and little tricks to actually get it to work. The one thing I won my Trunks, Ken will appreciate, but I got a Trunks statue that I won. Mostly, I put most money in and started it, then Amy put a couple bucks in and showed me how to finish it, and I was like, oh, I can do this, and I did it, got it, awesome. She's been getting stuffed animals. But I've been playing those. I played some Initial D Racing, which was awesome. Although it's not a true simulator so much as this fun arcadey on rails game, for the most part. And actually the most fun I've had gaming with real games, there's a basketball game that we played today, you'll see a video of, that was fun but exhausting because it lets you play a lot of the things for $1, essentially 100 yen, will let you play longer than you'd expect. This basketball one, as long as you kept succeeding, it will keep letting you play the next level, or next round, as long as you're getting enough throws. Exhausting. The other one that I really enjoyed, saw it at NakaCon, didn't really play it because I was intimidated, but played it here finally in the upstairs of the Walmart with some little kids showed me how to play, was the drum game. And it's like this dual big drum thing where you can do two-player. They have the attached drumsticks, but it's kind of the big Japanese style, like doom, doom, doom drum thing. Cool controller in the sense that it knows left and right on it for what side of the drum you're hitting, and whether you're hitting the side or the edges. And so the front of it or the edges of it. And then it's just a rhythm game. And it's just a drum, and it doesn't matter really it doesn't tell you which side you have to hit, at least that I've seen, but it's the rhythm of the center or side, and it's just doom, 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 it goes through. I played on basic levels, and what's cool about it is for the 100 yen, I got 3 songs. Where I'm used to for a quarter, right, in so many games, getting a song, if you're lucky. This one gave 3, and so I was after I finished the first one, I was done and ready to walk away. And these little kids, again, no English, looked at me and was like, no. And I was like, what? And they're like, oh, you can play again, right? It's like, oh, go again. So I figured that out, and they showed me how to change levels or which songs, and I had them help me choose a song, and I played them. And they were gracious in that they were like, hey, you did pretty good. I'm assuming all that without words, just the nodding and this and that. And it's funny because this little kid, right, little round boy, showed up and was helping me through it. Had his own sticks, not the ones attached, so he brought his own. I was like, oh, geez. Went and watched him and his friend play, and I was like, yep, I need to move up. And then later, yesterday, essentially, when we were there and got John to play the basketball game, this young gal, not even middle school, I'd say elementary, maybe middle school, showed up, and she played, and dang, she was just nailing it. But what I liked about it was fun, somewhat exhausting, but fun. And the sound set in such a way that you almost really do feel like you're making the sound, not just a speaker doing it. The thumps sound like really good, like doom, doom, doom. Like, okay, this is awesome. And so it's one of the few that's like, I would really like to import that system and have it like in my basement. I think it would be a hoot. And I'd love to play it enough to get good at it. So that was something I saw and was just kind of like, man, that's awesome. I want that, Japan. Why you do this? Oh, it was so cool. All right. Unfortunately, because I didn't get into the other account, I don't have any good stories to be honest. I have other subjects I need to bring up too, but oh well. So I guess it's going to be just more updates of Japan as I talk about it. Like I said, snacks, food, all great. Drinks, all great. What else have I noticed? I made an assumption that walking around, much like road traffic, you could just always stay, in this case, the left side versus the right side when you're traveling, and it would work. People don't follow that. They go whatever the hell way they want. So you just have to be very aware. It's ton of bikes, and so you have to be very aware. Make sure you get out of the way, stuff like that. But at the same time, Japanese people are super nice, and so they accommodate all of us terrible gaijin that don't know what we're doing. And so it's hard to know whether you're doing a faux pas or not in many cases. One of my biggest challenges is when ordering food, especially from like a McDonald's and Mr. Donut, where they have the option of giving food to go, is I have no idea when they're asking if I want it to go. No idea, so I don't even know how to respond. Here to go, and I have no idea. I just try to point. I've gotten through it, but it's terrible. So the interesting thing is, yes, I've seen a maid cafe, Tromad, but I hadn't gone in because the gals who were advertising for it in Akihabara looked so unthrilled with their jobs, because again, they were just the ones advertising wearing a maid outfit and trying to give you a flyer that says go here, that it didn't really draw me. They weren't nice, cutesy, like, hey, they were just, this is my job. And so that didn't draw me, but I did see where they were at. Cosplay wise, I have not seen any real cosplay. Normally that happens on Sundays, as I was learning more. We were driving today and doing other stuff, so did not go try looking for it. Maybe next weekend. Did see in the station yesterday or so 2 Lolitas coming down the stairs, and that was the first I had seen of anyone kind of in any outfits. It was 2 gals in Lolita, full blown, that I was like, hey! And that was my first actually seeing something like that. That's cool. I was even tempted really much to take one of my cosplays, but I figured it'd be too much challenge. But I was kind of tempted to do Mr. Satan. The challenge would have been is even if people got it, and they likely would have, I wouldn't know how to respond, so it wouldn't really help. But I was super tempted. So no, haven't really seen any of that. That's part of where I think we're planning more for next weekend, is doing some of the bigger city stuff, like trying to go hopefully find some of the car people in town, like in Tokyo kind of thing, try to see if we can find straight up Fast and Furious scene, as silly as that sounds. But people are actually hanging out talking cars and stuff like that. Hoping to do that. Tempted to try to go on a Sunday to one of the districts to see the cosplay. I still haven't tried a crepe, so I may try to go back to, I forget the name of the road that we actually wandered to by accident. That was the super popular huge road that has like amazing crepes and stuff. Hadn't tried that yet. Want to do that. And so no, unfortunately there's a lot of things I haven't, but Tromad, you telling me things like this may push me to look for some of those things. And the problem with getting Fire Emblem on my phone is I don't care about Fire Emblem ever. I'm trying to play one of the Tales games that I have on my DS. Tales of, I don't know which one it is. I need to get this Tales of Zestiria or whatever, which is the cosplay group we're doing, so I can finally meet my character. But have not done that either. Really, I just haven't had time to game. I crash hard. One of the things that Amy's noted is that she's a little jealous because I lay my head down and out. 2 minutes in, just out. Out cold. Challenge is I have wanted to like watch some anime and stuff while I'm here, but none of the services I get anime on can I. Because my region is Japan, Crunchyroll doesn't even exist here. And so I can't. And Netflix I can, but the series I was trying to watch I can't because they're US only. I did finally get it to I had to re-authenticate because I had downloaded a few, turned off my Wi-Fi completely, so I was just watching it download. I was able to finish One Punch Man finally, which is awesome. But I can only then play the ones I'd already downloaded, and I have to turn off the internet to do it. Once I'm on, it's like, nope, you can't watch this in this region. Same thing with some of the Facebook, like YouTube stuff. One of the things that kind of screwed me up, I was watching something on YouTube where I was trying to save something, upload, and it basically said I couldn't watch in this region. Some of the stuff people are saving, it's like, oh, this isn't available. I was like, why not? I was like, oh, because I'm in Japan, and this is a US only thing. It's just like, damn it. But yeah, and well, part of the problem also, Ken, is that John doesn't have TV. He only has the internet. And so all the places I normally would go to watch things on the internet are US sites. And so I can't. It's weird. And I just don't know where to go for the others. So I've kind of been mixed. Thankfully, I've been busy enough that it hasn't been a big issue, but just a couple times I have wanted to stop and watch. I was like, damn it. So yeah, I didn't even think that the sites I'm used to would not be available in Japan. Killing me. So that's been a challenge. What else is going on here? Gets dark too early here. I think it's just the latitude I'm at. That's been odd. I tried to do some fashion shopping. I am too big. I did get a shirt and jeans, but the shirt was a triple L, so triple like XL. And well, so I do have a VPN, but it's on my desktop at home. I didn't set one up for my laptop because I never thought about it for my laptop. So I do have a VPN, and I have one that's paid for lifetime, but I didn't even bother trying for this purpose. Like I said, this is me just like randomly a few moments saying like, oh, let me do this, and then not thinking like, oh, I should have planned ahead on how to do this. So I have a VPN, just not on my laptop installed. So yes, I know all these means and ways to do it. It's just I haven't had the time to really put forth the effort because I haven't needed to, because I've been active enough not to need to. So there's a few aspects to it. But yes, I've been a noob in that sense. Yeah, so just Google that. No. And it's actually funny because I don't even know how to say it, not sensibilities and stuff, but how porn and stuff is viewed differently here. I'm worried that things that come up on my normal feed of like cosplayers and stuff I know might be too much. No idea. It's crazy to me. Although you go to the convenience store and you see their little magazines on the side, and it's just like, huh. Anyhow. What other insights? All right. Last questions from people, essentially. What else do you want to know about what I'm doing right now? Today's going to be a sleep day, because screw this. I'm exhausted. So before I call it, since I've got less than 10 minutes now, what do you want to know? Trying to think. Food's great. I do have a lot of photos that haven't made it out yet because they're on my camera, and I'm going to wait to edit those until I get back to the States, back home. So everything you've been seeing has just been off my cell phone, essentially. Problem is stuff like Fox Village and stuff, copy or by train, normal train, like 7-8 hours away from here. Not ready to commit that. If I were to take I can't say the name, Sudoku, I don't know the name of the line, but the bullet train, could get there in like an hour or two. The challenge is bullet trains here are expensive as shite. I was looking at going down to, I may go to Tokyo Tower. There's a couple towers that I may still make it to. But there's I was looking at the trip that my buddy was taking to Kyoto, and to take the bullet train down there would have been $130 each way per person. So pro tip is, like, if you are actually going to travel around the country and use the bullet trains, they can get a rail pass unlimited for the time frame for a month or whatever. Challenge is it's like $400. However, totally worth it if you're going to use the bullet trains, because they are super expensive. Totally worth it if you're going to constantly be going in and out of train stations. The difference is you have to basically have a person identify, show a person the pass that they let you through, where everything else is electronic, so there's that. And no, I haven't looked at any of the other island stuff. John did suggest that we could go to Suicide Forest. Personally, not somewhere I want to go. I'm not interested in going into a very creepy forest where people go to kill themselves. That's just me. Maybe I'm weird. Things like that. I did learn tonight that I shouldn't whistle because it's bad luck in Japan, especially at night. So I learned that tonight. Yeah. So I do appreciate everyone giving me suggestions on places to go and things to see. I said if you'd like to give it in a way that I'd notice, either find me on the Facebook feed where I was talking about what I'm doing, or send me an email, docdad@gmail.com, so that I can have something permanent to look at. Because the IRC is going to disappear as soon as I shut this down, at least in my head. And thank you, Copy, for the Farfetched. I'll have to look for it. I have not seen one. Yeah, Kitty Island, any of those places, they're so far away. It's so bad, but they're so far away. I have no desire to go to a bathhouse, Kuro. No desire. No. None. I will clean myself each day in the privacy of my friend's apartment. So yeah, there's some other little things I may try to do that are touristy. I just haven't figured it out yet. And so, I'm tired. I'm gonna call it. I may call it early here because my brain is no longer functioning in a good way. Partly with the public bath, it's mostly a concern about the proper order of things to do to be respectful of stuff and things, just not messing that up. You know, it's easy to not do the shoes in the house thing, but, you know, washing yourself properly before going to the bath, that kind of stuff, not knowing. I've had enough little things of just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And so, have not had an opportunity or seen wasabi anywhere yet, but I haven't had real sushi yet either. I'm a little afraid to because I don't like fish as much as most of y'all. So I've had little bits here and there, but I don't know if I'd appreciate it. Alright. I think that's good. Yeah. If you want to know more, check out my website for my vlogs. I'm trying to do one a day to say what I've been doing. Some are longer than others. Hopefully some are better than others. We'll see. Follow Amy's blog. Like I said, Melon Dreams. She's better at it than me. She's taught me a little bit, but she's way better than I am. I am totally bad. And no, I don't have tattoos, so I'm good. And yes, I have heard that depending on which places you go, they absolutely do not like tattoos. Because I've heard one of my friends was basically called Yakuza by a child because child saw a couple of his tattoos. And so that's like real stuff. All right. That's it. There's more cultural things there. The big note I would say is I wish I had spent more time learning actual conversational Japanese before coming here because I know nothing. Alright, I'm done. You listen to Show X. I need to leave. As Ken's saying, make sure you check out our Patreon at www.patreon.com/showx. Make sure you check out our Twitter accounts, BTWShowX, mine at DocDad, and Ken's at GoHex. Other than that, check out our links, check us out on social media, and please do us a big favor and tell the world about us. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell whoever you think would be interested in the kind of things we talk about to come join in the fun. Heck, feel free to put flyers out there and just tell anybody. But I'm out of here. There, I've wasted enough time. I call it good. I'm out. You guys have a good night. I don't know if I'll make it to the next show because I may be doing stuff. I may be asleep. I don't know. I wanted to at least try one while out here. At least get up there. Oh yeah, art contest. Do that. Oh, it's vote time. Yeah, go vote. I'll have stuff for the next art contest. I'm sure I've got tons of pictures. Go vote. I'll try to do that. That's it. We're out. All right. Bye, guys. Now I have to hit all the buttons and make sure this works. So let me find the things. Damn single monitor. All right. Click this one. You're no longer going to hear me. Awesome. Oh yeah, 2 hours to vote. Shite. I guess I gotta go to that as soon as I'm done here. Alright, so clicking this button. So audio, you won't hear me. And I need to click the other button because you can still hear me on the video. And now I'm done with that.
Goodbye. See you in the next zombie.